This 24-chapter series will trace the rise of the Habiru revolt, drawing a direct parallel to the biblical Hebrew uprising described in the book of Samuel. From its earliest stages under King Saul to the conquest of Jerusalem by King David, this conflict culminates in the Aramean campaign and the formation of the Kingdom of Israel. Through an in-depth analysis, we will not only illuminate the Habiru rebellion, but also present compelling evidence that reinforces the biblical narrative and attests to its key events. At the heart of this investigation lies a bold proposition: the identification of King David with Tagi of Gintikirmil, a military leader who authored 3 Amarna Letters and is referenced as a pivotal figure in several others. Tagi's presence in these texts places him at the center of the political and military upheavals of the Late Bronze Age. Along the way, we will uncover striking connections between David's mighty warriors, his allied kings, and also the enemies of Israel during this time, with historically attested figures from the Amarna texts, offering fresh insights into this transformative period. With this ambitious study, we seek to establish David as the most historically attested figure in the entire Old and New Testaments. Join us on this fascinating journey from its very beginning, from the rise of Saul, the first king of Israel, and the man who was the catalyst of the Hebrew revolt, as described in the Amarna Letters. The Amarna archive is composed of 382 catalogued letters written in clay by Egyptian vassals and found directly from Pharaoh Akhenaten's royal repository in Egypt, where they remain buried for 3 millennia. Of this total, there are 64 of them about a certain revolt happening in the lands of Canaan. The revolt is caused by a group named the Habiru. In the context of the Amarna Letters, the Habiru is the Egyptian term to designate individuals of a lower social class. It is a pejorative term for rebels and marauders. It is a social class distinction, not an ethnic one. But this study suggests that the Habiru propagandists took the term and made it their own. A loose connection with an ancestor of the land named Aber was created, and the ethnic unifier term Hebrew became the group standard. By concluding the class distinction Habiru and the ethnic term Hebrew are designating the same group of people in the context of the Amarna Letters, we can find synchronisms among these letters and the biblical account. Many Amarna letters, like the number 271, illustrate how the Habiru attacks in the land caused so many worries to the Egyptian vassals. They describe,
"May the king, my lord, know that the war against me is severe. So may the king, my lord, save his land from the power of the Habiru."
We know from the biblical account that the person who rose as leader of the Hebrew people was a man named Saul. This is described in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 10, verses 17 to 23, during a public event happening in the city of Mizpah, where the prophet Samuel announced,
"Do you see the man the Lord has chosen? There is no one like him among all the people." Then the people shouted, "Long live the king!"
But the name Saul was probably not the real name of the Hebrew leader people asked for, since the word Saul just means the one who was asked for. It is more likely that Saul was not his birth name, but a title or epithet he took for himself based on the people's desire. We also know from the Bible that Saul was only taken seriously as a king after his victory against an enemy of Israel, Nahash of Ammon, who conquered and tortured the city of Jabesh-Gilead. The events of the victory of Saul against Nahash are described in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 11, verses 8 to 12, as it reads,
"Saul broke into the camp of the Ammonites and slaughtered them until the heat of the day."
We have a possible synchronism to the event in the Amarna letter number 252. This is the letter of the leader of the illegal group called Habiru, a man named Labaya. The letter has Labaya himself explaining to Pharaoh the reasons for having attacked another city ruler who was also a vassal of Egypt. He writes,
When I had sworn my peace, and when I swore the other magnates swore with me, my city, along with my God, was seized. He has slandered me, and I am slandered before the king, my lord.
This study proposes that the name of the Habiru leader, Labaya, was the personal name used by King Saul of the Hebrews in his daily interactions. The Amarna Letter 252, written by this Habiru leader, could be the Hebrew king explaining the attack against Nahash. The Habiru leader's explanation to the Pharaoh was clear and dramatic by saying that, like Saul in the biblical account, he was returning an aggression. The letter reads,
Moreover, when ants are struck, do they not fight back and bite the hand of the man who struck them? How at this time can I show deference, and then another city of mine will be seized?
The name Labaya also has a direct correlation to the biblical account. It derives from the Semitic roots labi, that means lion, and yah, a very common theophoric component during the Amarna period that this study will defend it refers to Yahweh, yielding the name Lion of Yahweh. Such a translation not only challenges the prevailing historical consensus, suggesting that the monumental biblical events, centered on God's revelation of his name and culminating at Mount Sinai, took place only a full century after the Amarna Letters, but also provides the origins of the symbol of the Israelite monarchy to the much earlier Egyptian historical evidence, while also aligning this leader to the description of Saul in the book of 2 Samuel chapter 1, verse 23, that reads,
Saul and Jonathan, in life they were loved and admired, and in death they were not parted. They were swifter than eagles, they were stronger than lions.
More resolute in this idea, by utilizing the Amarna Letters as direct records of King David's reign, it is possible to interpret these records as accurate historical accounts rather than merely distant memories, thus providing a more faithful representation of the events in his life. The next chapter will delve into Saul's remarkable transformation from a rising Hebrew leader to a declared enemy of Egypt. It will explore how he secured his kingship amidst internal turmoil and external challenges, setting the stage for the Habiru conflict that redefined the Levant's political landscape. Furthermore, it will examine the peculiar event known as Saul's harsh oath, where he condemned his own son to death, and its intriguing parallel in the Amarna Letters, which recount a similar incident involving the son of Labaya, who was likewise condemned to die by his own father.